you talk to last time?
So last time was my friend Erin. She's a dietitian.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so I actually didn't even plan that. We just ran into I ran into her at Eastern Market, and I was like, I have this kind of cool idea. You want to check it out?
Like that day?
So she didn't do it that day, but we planned it that day. And then like a few days later, this was happening.
That's cool.
So you're actually the second person to hop on this video chat. This is Sarah, by the way. Sarah, you live
downstairs.
She lives downstairs in my apartment building.
I do. It's a good spot.
So that's that. You also do like I think the most like interesting thing, well, something not about you, but something that caught my attention was you did actually a full yoga teacher training.
I did.
Which was like, I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Because it's a lot of time.
A lot of time, a lot of money. But like the best thing I ever did. Even though I don't teach it, you grow in ways you can't even fathom.
It's definitely like a dive inward.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And you don't really expect that because you're like, I'm going to go stretch.
Yeah, you're just like, I'm going to learn how to teach and it's going to be easy. And I was like, I'm going to come out of it being like a teacher. I'm going to go right into teaching. And then as it progressed, I was like doing practice teaching. I was like, oh, that doesn't feel as easy as I thought it would. Like holding space for a class. One, being nervous talking in front of people, but like holding space for a class when like, let's say you had a bad day or like you're not feeling your best and like still having to hold that space is so hard. So teachers that teach like 2 or 3 times a day, every day, like I can't imagine.
It's crazy, right?
Yeah.
Like not only just the, I was just talking to my friend Alice, she teaches at LCD.
And Citizen, right?
Yeah, and Citizen, yeah. So I was just talking to her and I was like, we do like, sometimes we just hang out and do yoga together. And I was talking to her, I was like, you know what's so interesting? I was like, when I do yoga by myself, like in my apartment, I'm like so, I don't get like that same like punch, like that same vibration, you know? And I'm like, I really think it's like having an instructor in a room full of people, like an energy, like, do you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, because you're in it together.
Yeah, and it's like everyone's kind of like somewhat like, for example, if one person in the room is like has a lot of energy that day and another person is like really like feeling low or something, like an energetic balance takes place or something. Like they kind of share a little bit, you know?
Yeah, it's a nice balance to have, and also just like any workout class, like being in a room full of people that are there for the same thing and like you're kind of holding each other up and like, okay, I don't want to hold this pose for 7 breaths, but like I'm gonna do it because this person's doing it, and like it's my responsibility. Or just not doing it because you don't feel like you want to is fine too. But when you're doing it alone, it's like a lot harder.
It's so like, right?
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know, it's something about having like the motivate, like the community vibe or something.
And your external environment totally makes a difference. I think like doing it in your apartment's really hard. Like if I had a house maybe and like a whole separate room that I just used for yoga or something, like more mindful activities, and I think it would help like separate the two. But if I'm doing it just in my living room, I'm like, you know, I'm in the same room that I watch TV in or I like do work in or whatever, and like having those mindsets kind of clash it's like way harder to slow down.
I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that a little bit.
So you have all your distractions,
yeah.
You have all your toys, you have all your
I'll be like practicing, and like a minute later I'm playing guitar.
Yeah,
I'm like, what the hell's going on? So I actually hop back on my mat though sometimes. So
yeah, my attention span's a lot shorter at home, for sure, than it is. Like in class, I could do like a 75-minute class, and after it's over, I'm like, wow, that really went by so fast. At home, I could do an hour, and I'm like,
right? You keep checking your time. I'm like, this is not going by. It's going by so slow. When did you start doing yoga?
I always like dabbled in it. My older sisters were super into it. Or one of them did teacher training, like years and years and years ago. But I moved home from New York like 3 or 4 years ago, and maybe 3. And I started, my mom's friend was like, oh, come to Citizen with me. Like I have a guest pass, you can just come take some classes. And I had gone with her once or twice before when I was in college and like came home for the weekend. I was like, okay. And then I think in class they were advertising teacher training, and I don't know, like I hadn't been going. And in college I would do it like for a workout. I don't know, the hot yoga there.
Yeah.
It was more, it wasn't like a work in, it was work. We definitely just like to sweat
Physical,
and whatever.
okay.
Yeah. But I came home and I don't know, something just like told me to do it, and I emailed them and I was like, hey, like looking for some more information, and then they had me come in and meet them. And then I think like that day or that night or maybe the next morning I emailed them and I was like, I'm in. And then that was just my decision. So I hadn't really been doing yoga very long at all, or like I wasn't really super into the practice in the sense like that I am now. I didn't understand it as much.
Same here, especially when I first started. I was like,
You're like, this feels weird. How am I supposed to feel? What is it supposed to be like? I can't do any of these poses.
Yep.
Nothing feels right.
oh my God, no, my first time was so much worse. I actually went because this girl I had a crush on was, we were talking at Wayne State, and she was like, hey, I do yoga and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, she's like, you should come with me sometime. I'm like, yeah, I'm totally down, And then I go and I start doing the class, and then I was like, it was hot yoga, and it was just like really hot. It was like a really hard class, and then I ended up walking out of the class like 15 minutes in.
People do.
I was like, oh my God, what the hell is that? But anyways, that didn't work out with the chick.
Yeah.
But whatchamacallit, I actually fell in love with yoga. Like I went back still. I actually went to the same studio. And we were friends, by the way. Like we became friends because we were practicing and stuff. But I ended up it's funny because like my intention wasn't to like go and do that, but I think like something deeper was kind of working a little bit, because it was more like, I feel like right place, God kind of puts you in your right place at the right time.
Right.
And I was like, oh, I think I'm going there for like this and blah. But I think it was like something much deeper pull.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. I think a lot of people get like dragged to yoga by certain people, friends or like significant others or like whatever, crushes. And then they go. Some people hate it the first time, and then but they're like, I'm gonna try it again because it's a cool challenge.
Yeah.
They go, or they're like, wow, this is like really incredible. And then I've brought people, friends and whatnot, that come and like fall in love with it and then keep coming, and I don't know, it just hits you in a weird way, and you're like, this is like, I'm supposed to be here. I'm supposed to keep doing this. I don't know why, because it feels weird and hard, but
yeah, it's like your mental is so against it.
Yeah.
But it's like something's like keeps like pushing you. I was just thinking about something yesterday too. Yeah, don't tell them. I completely forgot.
Something about yoga, practicing, bringing people.
I was just kind of thinking about like how like yesterday I was like, sometimes I just sit and like I just sit in meditation, and then after, it's not really like meditation, but I like to give time to just like sit. So I like won't touch my phone, I won't like socialize, I won't do anything. I just literally sit on that couch and I'm like, okay. And then I just kind of like bring my attention more inward, and then somehow it's like just some insights kind of come. And I was just kind of thinking about like how life kind of prepares you for like your next, like it's kind of always preparing you for something in a sense, so like I was thinking about like for example like being a server. When I was a server for a long time, and I was like remembering when I had to like be a server, like there was like 5-6 tables at one time, so like I had to think about what I was doing, but I couldn't like overthink about what I was doing. So I had to be like, okay, I just have to go here, and this plate has to go here. But I wasn't like really thinking, I was just moving. Like I was just kind of moving, and then like I don't know, I was just kind of thinking how like at the time I was like, oh, I'm a server, blah blah blah, but now I was like thinking about it, I was like, well, actually it's a little more than that, because like I was learning how to like move in life, kind of.
Yeah, and it's like a fast-paced, like high energy environment, and you have to be like pretty focused and know where you're going.
You have to be present.
Like, yeah.
or you'll crash.
Right.
You know, and there was times where I crashed, but like you have to really be present, and like there has to be a focus, like there has to be like an alertness almost. And I was just so amazed by that. Like it seems so like rich to me, because I was like, oh my God, like I didn't know. I was just like, oh, I'm being a server, but it was more like, no, you're learning.
Yeah.
It's like much, you know, right place, right time.
Yeah, it's hard to like. It's good that you find purpose and like things like that. I feel like a lot of people go through life like not liking their job at certain points, or feeling like they're not doing anything, and not really. I mean, maybe later down the road they realize like there's a reason for that.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I feel like I just choose to believe there's a reason for everything. Otherwise, like it feels really bleak and.
Me too. I think I'm like
but-
that too. My friend was like saying, you know, she was like, I just see divinity in everything. You know, like I see like God playing in everything. And I was like, I think.
But how do you get to that point, right? Like, you know, you have to kind of trick your brain into believing that like everything's happening for a reason. You can't just like force yourself to be like, okay, there's a reason that my car got smashed outside. Like, it feels horrible and it sucks, and there's a lot of like financial hardships coming after, but there's a reason. Like, how do you get to the point of like, okay, this happened and there's a reason I'll maybe learn later, or there's not, but like it happened. So like
you kind of see it though. Like, for example, like I always like, you can't connect the dots forward. You can look back in your life and then be like, well, this happened and this led me here, you know? So like you can't, in that moment of like crisis, like some people are like, oh, it happened for a reason, but like you just build trust.
Yeah, in the moment you definitely, like when we're like relationships, when they end, it's like there's all this stuff online that's like, you know, people come into your life for a reason or to teach you a lesson, and like while it's happening, it feels there's no way you can look at it and be like, okay, this ended and it happened for a reason and I'm okay with it. I mean, you can tell yourself that to calm yourself down, but like I feel like it takes time to like it takes going further down the road and looking back and being like, okay, this is why, or this is the lesson I learned. But like in the moment, it feels like
I feel like the one who's a little more observant, like for me personally, like I remember life used to be so like one thing would happen and I'm just my weeks like I'm in bed, I'm like, oh my God, like just life is not pleasant at all, you know? And then just through like more like yoga, more like meditation, and just like I learned to like observe, you know? So like now it's like, okay, it's funny because I'm like, now it's like something happens and it's almost like I remember the similar thing would happen and before, and it would be like, you know, like my world was crushed. But now I'm like, there's like this, all right, far out,
very
sweet,
cool.
You know? But it's not like dismissive or suppressive. It's more just like observant. It's like really neutral.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like it's not so like, it's very like, it's like this like, my inner space is more like silent. And I feel like when you're really silent inside, it's like things are less of a impact. Because you don't feel like they're impacting like you just, it goes from stimulus, you go from like registering stimulus to, does this sound complex?
Yeah, but I'm on board.
Hell yeah. It goes from like you registering stimulus, like this is happening to me. Why is this like the me story, you know? Like, why is this happening to me? Oh my God, I don't want this to happen to me, blah. Like that story has kind of been like, it becomes, I feel like through like practice, it becomes kind of nullified. And then it just, oh, this thing happened. You know?
Just observe it.
This instructor told me once, it was like, he was so cool. He was like, this is like 4 or 5 years ago. He was like 90% of, he's like 10% of life is what happens. And then 90% of it's your reaction.
Yeah. Well, or no reaction. Like not being reactive could be a response to something. I think like how I look at it is when anxiety or depression or any what's labeled as negative feelings come up, I'm trying to learn how to not like you said, not to suppress or try and get rid of anything, because I think those serve a purpose, and I think they serve a great purpose if you know how to just sit and observe them. But like looking at them as just like a roommate to you, not like someone that takes control over you when they come up, but they're a roommate, like hearing them out, observing them, and then letting yourself go on and like find the next emotion or like feeling something different. I think it's important. I think it's really hard to do that.
That's beautiful. That you just said that. Yeah, it's really exactly something. I like that example. It's like the anxiety comes, or like a strong feeling of depression comes, and then it's like, you know.
I look at it as like a big table.
Yeah.
In my, like inside my head, I'm like, we're all at a table. I'm at the table. My anxiety, my depression, my happiness, all my different emotions are at the table. And if I try to, like if anxiety tries to talk and I say, no, like we're not going to listen to you, what is that going to do? It's just going to make it stronger and stronger and try and be louder and louder and be like, listen.
Yeah, because you're giving it reality.
Yeah.
You know, if you're pushing something away, you're giving it a much more reality than it has. But like, I don't know. It's just, it's so wonderful because like they're just like, you know, they're just roommates. They're coming and going. You can even, I just call them clouds at this point, because it's like, you know, it's like here one moment and then it's gone the next, you know, and then I feel like, you know, this like that energy needs you, but you don't need it. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, that feeling of that energetic, like the anxiety, depression, these thoughts, especially like the thoughts surrounded around them, they can't exist without you. You know, it's like anxiety doesn't go up to a tree and be like, what's going to happen to you today? You know, the tree's not like totally freaking out, but we have this like psychological like identity, and it's like, this is going to happen, you know, and it's almost really mental, you know, it's not totally true. It's like almost like your self-image is like suffering from like so much of this, like your self-image is actually the only thing that's being beat up.
Absolutely.
You know, and then I feel like through like, you can call it meditation. I call it like inquiry, like inquiry. Like you just sit and like you look and you kind of start to redefine like, well, I can observe that, you know, and you really that neutral, coming back into like a spaciousness inwardly, you start to like, these things flow much easier, you know? So like you're just like you kind of hop in like a little pool and you're like, oh, this is nice.
I think we'll just go.
And then sometimes like the way the person turns on the wave pool or something, you're like, it's a little rocky, but you know, and then they turn it off and you're like, the water settles. And you kind of start to move like you know, you're moving externally. Like I like with myself, like I go to work, talk to this person, blah, 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 do a bunch of things. But internally, it's like the spaciousness is still here. Yeah. You know, like I'm moving physically in the world, but like this like emptiness, the space is like still so present. And like it's like so rich too. Yeah. You know?
And listening to a book on tape or like an audio book, because I've had in the last like 3 weeks, 7 or 8 people recommend this book to me.
What book?
Untamed.
By?
It's like her name's Glennon. Cannot remember her last name, but it's like a #1 New York Times bestseller. It was on like Reese Witherspoon's book club list, like whatever. But I've like a bunch of different people from like different parts of my life have recommended it. And I was like, okay, that probably means I should read it. So since I'm not good at reading, like I don't sit and like read a book for very long and it's hard for me to finish, I was like, oh, I'll just do it like audio book. So I'm on like, I think I'm a little over halfway, but it's a really good story about how basically like she was living a certain way that she kind of felt like was the right way, you know, by society. Like I have to get married, have kids, do this, be the good wife, the good mother, whatever. And then she falls in love with a woman and she starts to realize that living untamed or living in your truth is what's really important. And she talks about how she started to get quieter and just sit. And she's like, you know, I tried not to worry about like what was right or what was wrong or like, you know, I had all this anxiety, but when I sat and just listened to the knowing or tried to listen for it, like that's when my body told me what I should do. Like I just feel like
intuition.
Yeah, and I feel like that's such a hard. My first day of yoga training, we were talking about intuition, and I raised my hand and I was like, "What if you don't have it?" And the instructor kind of laughed, and she was like, "Everyone has it. Like we all have intuition." And at that point, I didn't believe her because I was like, I don't feel it ever.
Yeah.
But now I'm realizing I was just so disconnected from myself. She's like, "What drove you to come to this training?" And I was like, I just felt like it was the right thing to do. She's like, "Right, intuition. Like you didn't have a reason necessarily. You just kind of like it just felt right. Like it pulled you in."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, okay."
You told me a little. You were like you go to your fridge.
Mm-hmm.
And then you would just be like, okay, the first thing, was that you?
Yeah, that's like trying to grow my intuition because I still feel like I have trouble hearing it because I don't feel like I have enough quiet in my mind to like sit and listen for it.
Yeah.
Which I guess is the point. Like if you're so up here, then like how can you be in your body?
Yeah.
So like yoga and meditating and stuff is such a challenge, but I like the challenge. But small little acts of like intuitive growth, I guess, is like going to the fridge and being like, take a deep breath and be like, okay, first thing I see and the first thing that like I'm drawn to, that's what I'm gonna eat because that is what my intuition is telling me I want.
I've been doing ever since you told me that. I'm like actually a little much focused on that, but I've been like, I try and move as more intuitively as possible. For example, like I was like, yo, I don't want to plan this talk at all because I want to see kind of like
where it goes.
Let's just see how it goes. You know, I don't have like I don't want it to be a certain way.
Yeah.
I don't have like a mission.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be rigid.
Yeah, I'm just like, hey, let's like let's pop in, but very intuitively, you know, and like it's like magic, man. I can't even like. There's so many just scenarios in life where I'm like, I just move intuitively, and it's like it's literally just magic.
I know, and once you can
run into someone, you're like, I did not know I was gonna run into you. Like Eastern Market, that one day with my friend Aaron, who was just here. I was like, so I was walking, and then I was like, okay. I usually go to like this like salsa stand because I love this guy's salsa that he sells, but I was like, I already have some, I'm good, you know. But just this like intuitive pull was like, no, go. I was like, okay, I don't know why I don't want it, but I'll go because just my heart was telling me go. And then I ended up running to Erin because she was like walking this way, but if I had turned around, I wouldn't have ran into her. It's just so crazy. Like intuition, man, it's literally magic.
I know. Now I'm thinking about it. Like the more I go against it, like. Let's say there's more subtle signs of intuition, right? Like there's something telling you maybe this isn't right or maybe I shouldn't be doing this. And then you don't listen to it. But then that's when anxiety comes up and depression comes up and you're like, why am I feeling all these things? And now I'm realizing a lot of it is from just not listening to yourself and like not just listening, but like acting on that. Like, okay, this is what I'm being told by my body and by my mind.
By your spirit.
By my spirit. And like, how can I act on that and like be truthful to it even when it's hard because it's hard to do.
Yeah, it's hard to do until you get bit a million times. You know, like with me, like every time I turned away from it, like I'd ignore it almost. I would just not have fun. I'd be like, well, this is a total drag, dude. I wish I would have like just listened a little more because it's almost like if you're not really listening, it's like not you specifically. I'm not going but just me in general. I was like, well, if I'm not listening to it or like I'm not listening to like what my heart wants or something, then I'm really like, it's like I'm forcing something then. Like I have an image in my head of what I want to do or how I want things to go. And then I'm trying to make a shape out of life. Like I'm really trying to force something. But I was like, well, and then when I just learned to like listen a little more, how do you even listen? You pause for a second and then you like notice your racing mind and you know that's not it.
Yeah, you observe.
Yeah, you just observe, you check in a little bit. And then for me, it's like this like little inside, like somewhere in my heart area or something like that. And then it feels like, yes, something moves. It's like unfolding. It's really amazing. I can't believe it. It's just so exciting.
Yeah.
Every day I'm like, because every day I wake up, it's like so like, it's like, how's my day gonna go? I don't know.
Your day's gonna go how you like the minute you wake up and you have an intention and a mindset. Like you are the driver of your day. Like you can decide if you
Where you put your attention
Yeah.
really makes the biggest difference.
Yeah.
You know.
I'm sure it's great though. I have tea. I'm drinking dandelion tea.
Nice. I ate a dandelion.
Really?
Hold on, let me explain.
Like a whole one?
Yeah, so my friend
Like
was
the-
like, yo, we were at the park and he's like, dude, you can eat these. I was like, I'm not gonna eat. I thought he was just messing with me. He's trying to get me to eat a dandelion. Then he ate one. And my intuition, no, I'm just kidding.
Your intuition was like, eat it. Eat the flower.
Eat the flower. Hold on, my fridge is open.
Yeah, so you ate a dandelion.
Yeah, so I ate a dandelion.
How was it?
Really sweet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they
You
actually...
gotta, don't go, like, hold on. Don't go around eating every dandelion because some people put fertilizer on
I was
their
just going to say that.
So watch out. I don't want
Yeah.
to kill somebody.
Go
by
to like a
accident.
wildflower field.
Yeah.
And
Go to a place where people aren't.
yeah, because everything's chemically treated and do not eat that.
I spent the whole day in Picnic yesterday.
Did I tell you that's where I hiked on my birthday?
Yeah, you did. I love going there.
It
We
was-
should go together sometime. It's
Yeah.
so nice, man. I just went alone yesterday. It was so beautiful. It was so quiet.
That is like what I need. I went on a hike earlier this week, but I like every day now I'm like, I need a hike. I just need like time in nature alone. And I was reading, what was it? So I think it was something that came up on Instagram, like a video, and it was this girl like who like was hiking, but she like stopped and put her hands, like took off her shoes and put her hands like on the ground and like kind of meditated there for a few minutes, but she, they call it earthing, like, because the nature is so powerful, there's so much energy in it, and like really ground, like if you feel very up here, which I do often, like putting your either bare feet in the ground or like touching the ground with your hands or like touching a tree or like taking a minute to just like connect, it like really brings your energy down. Like it's super therapeutic, I think.
100%. Like just being barefoot and stuff.
Yeah.
I love the forest, but like I always like play with some dirt a little bit, or just being there is wonderful. But man, the lake or the ocean, like the beach for me is like you just like my feet are in the sand, like I'm in the water, like it's so like amazing.
Yeah, I'm a mountain. I mean, I love the water, and it like if I could have both, that would be my choice. But there's something about mountains that like really
Mountains are wonderful too.
just looking at. But yeah,
At which mountain range have you gone to?
Not many, honestly. The last mountains I saw. I've been to Oregon and San Francisco.
Oregon and San Francisco.
So
Nice.
Whatever, just over there.
Wow, Oregon.
Really bad at geography.
Oh, I was like, wait.
Really bad. I'm bad at like
No, you're
knowing
good, you're good.
what mountain ranges are where and.
I can't wait to go to Oregon. I went to Smoky Mountains a few times
Beautiful.
this year.
Nice.
They were just amazing, man.
A lot of people went to the Smokies this summer.
I know, like a lot.
My friend just got back from like a camping trip out there.
It's crazy. Like
Yeah.
I don't know why so many people. I think because like they drive
And there's nothing else to do.
and there's nothing else to
Yeah.
do. They're so wonderful.
Yeah, mountains are pretty insane. They're so beautiful. But yeah, like when I'm hiking, I am like really drawn to trees. So I'll just like sometimes just touch the tree and like stand there for a minute and be like, okay, what am I feeling right now? Because it's easy to mindlessly walk, which is also helpful sometimes, but it's easy to like, I don't know, maybe I put too much pressure on myself to like have this mindful nature walk, but sometimes I need it and I need to like recenter myself. So I'll like just sit next to a tree or like
Well, we got to break
out.
that habit of like just like I don't know. I don't like when people are like, oh, like like people are like, oh, what do you mean you listen to a tree or something like that? I'm like, shut up.
Yeah,
Like,
it sounds very woo woo.
Yeah. Like some people are like, oh, he's listening, but it's not like because you have those kind of people like even in your friend
Totally.
group. you're gonna have like, what do you mean you listen to? What the hell are you talking
Or,
about?
like, you're in.
And I'm like, you know nothing about life. Like you're still at the very tip of life, you know?
I know.
But when you start to listen a little bit, it's like you start to feel like presence. You know, you
Yeah.
start to feel like intuition. You start to feel like your oneness.
Well, you're connecting with like the literal like,
yourself.
plant, like literally what's like supporting you every day.
Yeah, like
nature.
how do you think you're moving your hands? They're like, oh, I'm moving my hand. I'm like, okay, just I don't want to.
Yeah,
You
but-
best not talk to those people so much about it. You know, don't get in any arguments. But
There's a tree down the street. There's that park that has like the paved path like in a circle all the way at the end. I think it's on like Burns and
yeah, I
whatever.
think so.
There's like a
yeah, on the
playground.
river.
No.
Okay.
What? No, that side. Like.
Oh, okay. Indian Village.
Yeah, Indian Village.
Nice. I know that.
So
one.
there's a play. Yeah. Now I know you were thinking of that one. But it's by the school. I think it's across from the older school, not the Waldorf school. But anyway, I was walking there the evening before my birthday. I used my birthday this year as like a big time to like think about my last year and like think about what I want for myself. And so the night before I like took a walk. I was listening to. I think I was listening to like I forget what the actual starts with an S. Sulfate frequencies. It's like Hertz frequent like healing sound frequencies.
Okay.
So I was like on a walk listening to those, and then all of a sudden I was like passing that park and I saw this huge tree and I was like, I just want to go sit under that. Like my intuition was like, go sit under that tree. So I did, and I probably looked crazy because I was just sitting like cross-legged, like with my back up against this tree. I think I had sunglasses on, but my eyes were closed.
The sunglasses just make you look so badass, though.
Well,
look
it
like
also
you're in the
helps me
Matrix or
like no one knows if my eyes are open or if I'm sleeping or
Yeah, that's
whatever.
true.
But I felt so much from that. Like just sitting there, I was like, what would my walk been? Like my walk been if I just passed, like didn't listen to
Right.
that like calling of go sit over there, and just like walked by. It would have been so different.
You start to feel like all these like little like experiences, like these little bumps, like they're like little wake me ups.
Yeah.
You know, you start to feel like it's like, I don't know. You kind of start to feel like you're getting energized from inside out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, as opposed to like, you know, like like something's like coming inwardly.
Yeah.
I don't know. You can't put it in words, but it's nice.
It is nice.
You know? It's totally nice. It's like sweetness. I've been lately, it's much more like, I'm like trying to make sure I get more time alone. Because I'm like seeing how like so much like social interaction is almost like, I don't want to say it's like a hindrance on like my like anything per se.
It's a drain.
But it's a little tiring, you
Yeah.
know? Like sometimes I don't want to talk. You know, like some people it's like
You feel depleted a little bit sometimes.
I leave depleted.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I go energized because I was like just by myself. Not with everyone, by the
Yeah.
way. But like I start to feel like I'm like, you know, sometimes I'm like, I just don't want to talk. Like I just want to sit, you know? But some
Yeah.
people are like, they feel very like, why isn't he talking? Like, are you okay? Are you feeling down? Maybe he's angry. Like
Mm-hmm.
you start to feel that stuff, like, you know, on their like system. But I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I just want to sit quietly.
It's just an ebb and flow of like needing alone time and wanting to be social. And I think right now everyone's going through such a hard time, no matter who, like, I don't care who they are. Everyone is feeling something from either the pandemic or the politics stuff or whatever is going on.
100%.
People are feeling a lot. And I think now is like the time where a lot of people are like, okay, I really need to like be alone because I'm feeling so much, or I'm feeling like overwhelmed, or I just need some time. And they're not as like busy like, you know, before the pandemic. Life was so different. And I think now people are starting to realize like the importance of taking time for themselves and like really settling into like a place where they can feel okay again. And like a lot of people are also changing their dreams and like their jobs and what they're starting to realize like what they actually want to do, and like that takes time alone too to figure out. And I think, you know, quarantine has given us a lot of forced alone time. And some people maybe are realizing like, wow, this is what I needed.
I feel like collectively everyone's kind of waking
Yeah.
up. You know, like, it's just, I feel like collectively everyone is like,
Yeah.
something's kind of waking up in everyone. And it's like,
I
we
feel it
see
too.
like, yeah, I totally feel it because I'm like much more like, I don't know. I was just talking to my friend yesterday and I was like, man, we might not have like tomorrow, you know?
Yeah.
And it's not like, I don't want to sound like some people are like, that's grim, that's really negative. I don't think it's negative. I think it's a fact.
You should,
Like-
I mean, they say you should live every day as if like you don't, like no one knows we have tomorrow.
Exactly, you know? But like, you know, so it's like, I don't know, there's like this like energy in me or something. And I'm like, you know, like, I don't know. I'm like, yeah, let's do a podcast. Like, let's do like, you know, it's like a homeless person's been talking to me, like, asking me, I'm like, why not?
Yeah.
You know, it's like, I don't know, I just have this like very like yes thing about like life right now. But
It's your intuition.
yeah, I'm just like,
Just
I feel
follow.
like it's so like, you know, I'm like, let's do it. You
Yeah.
know, like life's here. I'm like, yeah, let's go.
Totally.
I don't know. Because I don't know, like, you never know about life, you know? So I feel like live it, like, literally wake up. You know, wake up.
Just wake up.
Yeah, literally just wake up, like, you know, get out of the sleeping, that sleep mode of, like, you know, always thinking about future or, you know, reminiscing on the past or how good your life used to be or, you know,
Yeah.
waking up out of, like, I want this, be this way. I can't do this. So you wake up out of your mind.
Yeah, take it, like what I'm going to start telling myself this is like take it in maybe 10-20 minute increments. Like what do I want for myself in the next 10 minutes?
Mm-hmm.
Like do I want to get this done for work? Do I want to read this much of this book? Do I want to draw a little? Do I want to meditate? 10 minutes is it.
That's beautiful,
And then, like,
as opposed to getting swooped up with work the
So
whole
easy
day.
to be like, wow, I really want to hike after work, but like I have so much to do
Yeah,
until then. So it's like, okay, so let's slowly get
Yeah.
things done, and then you'll end up getting to that point a lot quicker than like when you're waiting for it
Right.
all day and you're like, okay, I'm here.
because yeah, like it's not even doing you any justice when you're like so focused on like what you want to go
Yeah,
do and
it makes
stuff.
the day go by a lot slower too. I feel like.
Yeah, and it becomes like a you know, you kind of put a burden on yourself too because you're like, I have to today and I want to go blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah.
Too much in the future.
It's so nice, man.
It's nice having these conversations like first thing in the morning. I feel like I haven't been, like, I don't know what the word is I'm looking for, but I haven't like been through a day of hearing other people talk about things and like I'm fresh in my mind. I like haven't spoken to anyone. Like I wake up and I'm here and like it's so much easier to have conversations like that, which is now telling me that that's why I should meditate in the morning,
Mm-hmm.
because the first conversation I have should be with myself. So I'm gonna start doing that more.
Hell yeah.
It's so hard though.
I know. I'm like, I actually started making, I used to go and like buy coffee every day, but I want to start making coffee here because I just want to sit in the morning, you know, as opposed to getting dressed, showering, leaving, going to get coffee.
Yeah, it's a good like ritual.
Yeah, like I
Routine.
just want to like sit, you know, quietly a little more. Usually at night is like when my alone time is. Like I just sit at night and like quietly and I just like, you know, but it becomes like, I don't know. I think when you're in love with something, you just won't want to, that's all you
anything
think
else.
about, you know, like it's almost like that's what you love. Like I just love being inward, you know, I just do.
That's so great. Not a lot of people can say that.
I know, but it's like, I feel like if everyone can say it if they saw, you know, but like it's like I don't know, I just love being inside, like just like quietly and like the spaciousness or like the joy, the peace, you know, the love, like, and it's so funny because even in the midst of like chaos or like a total world, like, you know, it's like somehow it's like untouched.
Yeah.
You know, it's like it's like your natural state as a human being. It's like something, I don't know. You know what's interesting? I can never like, I'm like talking right now, but I feel like it's only because you're here and something kind of understands that I can talk like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like sometimes I'll talk to people, but I find myself like,
They're like, what?
I don't even say it though.
Oh, okay,
like
okay.
something won't even say it inside, like something won't come, like the words won't even come because like there's not like a receptivity there or something
Got it.
like that. But I feel like I can talk like that because you're here.
Oh, I'm glad.
So
Yeah,
you're like one, you know, you're an awesome guest.
Thank you. Yeah, I feel receptive to all of that stuff, and I also just really enjoy listening to how people live and like how they get through their days, and because everyone struggles, and it's nice to hear like there is a way out of that, not out of struggle, because we're always going to struggle with something, but like again back to being the observer is like how do people, different ways different people observe those struggles and like how they get through them. I don't know, I like learning about other people's lives, and it's nice to
me too.
Yeah, I can do that.
It's like the most relatable thing you know, it's one of the things all human beings relate on. We all suffer. And
no one talks about it enough.
I know, because it's like almost taboo. Yeah. You know, you don't want to be the bummer. But I'm like, you're not really a bummer. Like I'm attracted to like honesty and truth.
Yeah.
Like I feel like if I'm with somebody, I was like, I just want you to be like totally yourself 100%.
Yeah.
I don't want to see your mask. Like I want to see you. Like what's up? You know? Mm-hmm. I love that. Like, so it's like, cause it's a comfort. Cause you know, when you're always holding that stuff inside, you always feel like you're the only one.
I know, and like putting on a mask for other people it's not worth it. It's like trying to be someone you're not isn't worth it. It's not worth the energy it takes. It's not worth like, cause then no one gets to really know you. And like you don't get to really know yourself because then you start confusing all these characters you've built around like who you really are.
You're all mixed up.
Yeah.
You're like, I don't know. Plus you don't get to know it. I found when you just when you're yourself, you're like not like wearing a mask, then you know someone will come by you and they're like, wait, I can just take off my mask. And you're like, yeah, you can take it off. And
yeah,
like,
so
are you sure? You know?
That's what like real connection and relationships are about, I feel like, is holding space for someone to be themselves without feeling a sense of like are they gonna judge me? Are they gonna feel this way? Are they gonna whatever? It's like none of those questions need to be asked because it doesn't matter. Like as long as you're being authentic to people, and you know, I mean, even if you're putting on a mask, some people aren't gonna like that mask, and some people are. So you might as well just like be your most authentic self, and then see who actually connects with that. Yeah, right.
You know, it's so like I don't know. You give people a chance to be themselves too. You know.
Yeah.
Honesty, like I love
wow, look how unapologetically himself he is. Like he's just
like that guy just laughed at everything.
Yeah.
I'm just
this person's just shouting out random things.
That's so funny. It's always good, man. It's always rich, you know? That's the richness of life. What are you grateful for? Let's do a little gratitude.
Morning gratitude list.
Let's get it. Let's get the gratitude is beautiful, but I want to just get a small list out before we close up.
What am I grateful for? I'm grateful for nature. I'm grateful for all the windows in my apartment.
Nice.
Because I get a lot of light in the morning, and the sun and seeing trees outside really helps me. I am grateful for my awareness and being able to have conversations like this. And I'm really grateful it's Friday.
It is Friday. I just remembered.
I'm really happy, and I'm so grateful I got through the week.
Nice, man.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
What about you?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Take a second.
I know.
Settle in.
Oh my god.
Settle in, listen to what's your intuition grateful for?
Love.
There you go. First thing that comes up. Sometimes I do that exercise with myself. I'll just be like, okay, what's the first thing that comes to mind? And I just say it out loud. Because
it's like, that's so true, you know?
Sometimes it's like cat or like
you're like
whatever, random. I'm like, okay, that's fine. Okay, so love.
Love. peace, food,
Mm-hmm.
friendship,
Mm-hmm.
forgiveness,
That's a good one.
silence.
Yes. Do you hear the birds?
Mm-hmm. By the way, I switched apartment units, so if you're hearing sirens and more birds,
More cars.
more cars, that's the reason.
But you have better sunlight.
But the lighting's much better, so cheers. All right, I think we can close up. How do you feel about this?
I feel great. That was great.
I feel really good about it.
So nice doing that in the morning.
I know. I'm gonna really take that into note. I want to catch people, like, not catch them. I want to catch people, more in the morning. But this is Sarah. I will tag her Instagram on my YouTube. This video underneath. Go check it out. You have a pretty. I like your feet and stuff.
Thanks.
I like your tape. I like you as a person.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's so nice of you.
So, this was episode 2 of Tea and Chab. I'm drinking cold brew.
I've got tea.
She has tea. So, I really hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you so much. God bless you infinitely. And may just, some peace and love come into your heart, and may you move in your day in a very silent and mindful way. And just, God bless you. God bless you. I love you. I love you. I love you.
Beautifully said.
Yeah. Alhamdulillah. Thank God. Okay, that's good. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. I'm doing really well.
This is a good sound check.
Sound check.
Gotta make sure we can hear all the noises.
Sound.
Noises. These noises.